Welcome to the Center for Teaching and Learning. The purpose of this video is to help you set up your online class in Canvas. We know that every course is different, and every group of students has different learning needs. This video suggests one approach to online learning that can provide your students with what they need each week to be successful. By organizing each week of your course into modules, you help students to stay organized too. Think of each module like a folder that allows you to keep all the things students need for the week together in one place. A typical module might contain a page with instructional materials and resources, an assignment and/or a discussion, and some type of quiz or assessment. The Materials and Resources page might contain your video lecture, along with links to useful resources and tutorial videos. Consider organizing this page into 4 sections: Learning Targets, an Introduction, Online Activities and Resources for Students, and a summary of students' assignments for the week. Learning Targets identify what students should know, understand, and be able to do at the conclusion of the module. Research tells us that when students know in advance what they are to learn, they are more likely to meet those learning goals. The introduction is a place where you can get students excited about the week ahead. It's also a place where you can cue them up for their reading. Most importantly, the introduction is a place for you to answer the question, why is this important? You can do this in a text narrative or with your video lecture. Many of the things that we do in a face-to-face setting can be replicated in an online classroom. There are many free tools available on the internet that allow students to work collaboratively to brainstorm, discuss, research, and explore. In the section titled Your Assignments this week, you'll give students a heads up of the work they'll be turning in for the week. All of us want students to be responsible, but don't overdo it with the tough love. Students who are taking online courses for the first time frequently do not have success because they miss deadlines. Remember that your students are taking all of their courses online now, and this may be a difficult and challenging time for them. You can help students to succeed by being as explicit as possible about weekly assignments and due dates. In the next section of the video, we'll put together a module that contains each of the components we've discussed. Hello! In this video, I'll demonstrate how to create a new module so that your students can start working online. So the first thing we're going to do is click on Create a Module. You can think of a module like a folder. It's a place for you to store everything students are going to need for that week. So I'm going to go ahead and name my module. And then create it by clicking on Add. Okay, so here's the module. So it's sort of like a folder or a category, and then within this folder we can add other learning objects. So you can see here that we can add assignments, quizzes, files, pages, discussions, etc. The first thing I like to add is a page, and we'll need to name that page. So we click on New Page and we go to the page name. This is going to be Week 10 Resources and Materials. Okay, and then I typically indent so that it's clear that this is part of the module. Now I'm going to click on Add Item. Okay, so in this Week 10 Resources and Materials page, I will place all of the instructional materials, including an online lecture perhaps, videos, activities I want the students to complete as part of their learning that week, and then a summary of their assignments. So the other things I can add to this module, and I'm going to do that right now, are an assignment. So let's add an assignment, and it's a new assignment, and then we'll name that assignment Make a Masterpiece Exercise. Okay, let's go ahead and add that. I'll edit it later. And then finally, I'm going to add a quiz to this module. So I select Quiz, and I can either click on New Quiz and then start designing my quiz, or if I've got a quiz that's already stored, either because I've made it before or because I've imported it, perhaps from the publisher, I can select that quiz, and that's what I'm going to do here. I created it, but it was already there for me to use, and I'm going to add that item. So now I have, for Week 10, my lecture materials and learning activities, an assignment that students are going to turn in, and a quiz. And I can go in and start working on each of these one by one. So let's go to the page first. Click on the Edit button to add content to your page. I like to organize the content into 4 categories. Under Learning Targets, I tell the students what they should know, understand, and be able to do as a result of completing this module. I use the introduction to get students ready for the work that week, to cue them up for their reading, and get them excited about the material. Under Online Activities and Resources, I add all of the materials that students will need to complete their work successfully. And then I end with your assignments for the week. So I'll speed this up a little bit. I'll add the learning targets. Then we'll add the introduction. Next, you fill in the online activities and resources. Then finally, you'll end with your assignments for this week. When you're satisfied with what you have on your page, you can click Save and review your work.
Once everything in your module is complete and satisfactory, you'll want to make sure that you publish the module. The final step will be to look at the module from the viewpoint of a student. From your course homepage, select Student View. Let's take a look at the Week 10 Resources and Materials. Here I want to make sure that everything students need to see is available to them. Here are the learning targets. Here's my lecture introduction and a little bit of text to support it. Here are the online activities and resources that students will use this week. And finally, here's a summary of their assignment. Okay, so far so good. Let's move on to the assignment. There's no discussion this week, but I did ask students to do an exercise in their Python for Beginners book. So here's the exercise. I included some screenshots, and I also have a rubric, and the rubric is visible for them. So let's look at the final component of this module, which should be the quiz. Okay, and here it is. So the quiz we'll want to probably preview. We can go ahead and click on Take the Quiz in order to do that, and that gives us an opportunity to check to make sure that each question makes sense. Okay, so that's it. If everything looks good, then you're done and this module is ready to roll.